In this video, I'm going to show you how to import a dataset into R and perform some basic data exploration with it. Found this dataset on Kaggle. It's a list of datasets, and yeah, they're beginner-friendly, fun datasets. So I'm choosing this one. It's called 80 cereals, nutrition data on 80 cereal products. I have already downloaded this, but you can just simply click on the download link right here. You must be logged into Kaggle to be able to do this. So you click on the download link, it downloads as a zip folder, and you extract it to your any location on your computer. So I'm here in R, and the dataset CSV file is in my documents folder. That's the current working directory of R. You can check what is the current working directory of R by typing get wd, that's get working directory. You execute that. You'll see that documents, which is my documents folder, is actually my current working directory. So at this point, I can actually go ahead and use a function called read.csv. I'm going to type read.csv. But before I actually use the function, if I type a question mark before the name of the function, it actually shows me documentation and help manuals about it. So I see here that this is a function that reads a table format and creates a data frame from it, right? I also see what options do I need to provide to it, what are optional and what are not optional. So I see that the only mandatory option is just to provide a file to it. Okay, so I'm going to use the read.csv function at this point. I'm going to do read.csv, and inside that I'm going to provide it a file. The file is going to be serial.csv because that's the name of my file. Let me just store it in the data frame called serial. Do this, and at this point I have a serial data frame available to me. Obviously there are other ways to import your dataset as well. So one of that would be to use the UI, which means if you would go to File, Import Dataset, and you can choose the first one, which is the base class. In here, you can just choose the file, the CSV file that has your dataset. Open. And here it gives you the different options, but in our case, we will just leave it as is. In most cases, you won't have to change anything. At this point, the dataset has been reloaded with the same name. Okay, and also this other function, which is a view function, has also been executed, and you can see the dataset right here. We're going to go ahead and run a couple of functions to explore the dataset a bit better. You can access the different columns from the dataset using the $sign. Okay, so if I was to want to print the whole dataset, I would just do serial. This would print out all of the dataset. Obviously, it's gonna truncate it. If I want to print a particular column, I'm gonna say serial, and then $sign, and then the name of the column that I want. So I want name, so serial name, and it prints out all of the 80 cereals. So let's use a couple of functions that would give us a better idea about the structure of the dataset. So if you use head and pass to it our dataset, this would print out the first 6 rows of the dataset. Okay. Similarly, if I want to get, for example, the mean of one of the columns, and let's say I want to choose the calories column right here. So yeah, calories column is right here. So I'm going to say serial $sign calories. Enter. So it turns out there are 106 calories on average in these cereal brands. I can also choose, for example, the minimum of the serial $ calories, right? So at minimum there's 50. Instead of doing this one by one, I can also use the summary function. The summary function accepts a data set or a column, so I'm going to pass to it serial $calories, and if it gives me the minimum, the median, the mean, the quartiles, the first and the third quartiles, and the maximum together. I can do this, I can run the summary function also for the whole data set at once. So if I would just pass to it serial, I would see that it gives me the same measures for all of the columns, not just calories. If I just need the names of the columns, I would type names and pass to it serial. Gives me the names of the columns. If I wanted to filter from this data set somehow, let's say, so let's look at the data set a little bit. So apparently there are some types on the serials. There is C type, there's H, there is C and H I see. Let's say I only want to see the serials that are of H type. So I'm going to type serial. First let me see how many of each type are there. So if I say table and pass to it serial $type, it will show me that there are 74 serials of type C and 3 serials of type H. To get the serials of just type H, I have many ways I can do this. One of the ways is to do this. I'll say from serials, and I will use square brackets here. I want within serials, so I'll use $signs, type. So I want from serials, I want the serials of type, and I'll use double equals to, right, just to compare, and I'd use H. The key here is that I have to type a comma at the end, right, for this to work. So I'll put a comma there, and let's see, and what I get is just the ones with type H, and I can see that this is serial number 21, 44, and 58. So that's 21, so right there, yeah, that's of type H right there. I can also use subset function. So to use subset, it will basically do the same thing. So I type subset, I say from serial, so I have to put a comma there. I'm passing it the data frame, which is serial. Then I'm saying from this serial, I need type, which is equal to H, and that's it. And it gives me basically exactly the same result. Lastly, I'll show you how to get a histogram for one of the columns. So in R, the function for histogram is just simply called hist. So I'll type question mark hist, and this will bring up details about the functions. And I see that it's a generic histogram function, and it tells me what are the different options that I can give it. So let's use the histogram function on the calories column. So serial $calories. I run this, and here is the histogram. I see that most of the cereals have calories between about 80 and 120, right? Above that and below that, there are very few cereals that has that. So yeah, this is a histogram. I can choose the number of breaks, which is really the number of bins or boxes or bars that we have here. So I can say breaks equals to, let's say, 5. I don't want 10, which I think is the default. I want 5 of them. right? I can choose even, I don't know, like way more. Let's say 20. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So apparently 10 does make sense. All the best. See you next time.